Mr. Transformers 96 here with another video. I'm going to be talking about some newly shown products from Marvel Legends via the Haslab Con Marvel Legends panel. So before I get into the actual figures, I just want to start off by saying that personally how I felt about the con, I was super disappointed, at least in the panels that I was interested in. As far as Transformers, I'm mainly a movie collector. Nothing movie-wise or even close to movie-wise was shown, so that was disappointing for me. Star Wars, very disappointed in the figures or in the characters that they chose to do. My one thing from Star Wars that I really did like though was the Rancor, but even that didn't have even a painted prototype like render to show. They only had renders of an unpainted one, and not even like an unpainted prototype to actually have the convention to look at or anything like that. So that was disappointing. Marvel Legends though was the most disappointing of all the panels. I think that the great majority of the stuff that was shown is all just slight tweaks, different paint. It was mainly about the packaging, which is just astounding, but the packaging was the main focus of the panel, and it was also 2 hours long with very little reveals. I have no disrespect for the people that they interviewed, the artists, the creators that they interviewed, they're all great, but this is a convention about toys, and they just interviewed people about Marvel just in general, and not really having anything to do with the toys. It was awkward, it was boring, and then, to have the reveals be lackluster too. It's not even like it's hard to get to the reveals, but once you get to them, they're good, because that's not even the case. So overall, I found the Hasbro Con, just as a whole disappointing, but especially the Marvel Legends section. And watching the chat during the 2-hour panel for Marvel Legends, I think that the majority of you probably agree with me if you guys watched too. It was a little hard to get through. So, because I was planning on making this video talking about all the figures, making multiple videos yesterday, but I was so burnt out after that 2 hours and so disappointed with what was shown, I just decided not to. So that's why I'm getting to it a day late here. But I still want to talk about the stuff, even if there's nothing too fantastic to talk about. So let's start off here. I'm just going to be going through the shots from the actual panel itself and going over everything. So this is basically going to be in order of what was shown too. The first reveal that they did, the first reveal didn't come until like 45 minutes into the panel too, which is insane. They did some 3 3/4 inch stuff up front that nobody cares about, and then they did a long interview, and at the very end of the interview they showed this. So this is Knull, a character nobody knows. No, I'm kidding. I personally didn't know him. But during the panel, I had a lot of free time, if you can imagine, so I did some research on Knull, and he's actually a really interesting character, it sounds like. He's basically the creator of the symbiotes, and he's the villain in the Venom comic that, if it isn't still running, at least it was running very recently. It's a modern comic, and the person who created this character and who wrote that comic was who they were interviewing, so it's fitting that they did the reveal there, of course. Figure-wise, he looks cool. It looks like there's some decent new parts here. They also stated that he's going to be 8 inches tall, so he should be quite a bulky figure. Now, this almost is in the realm of a possible Build-A-Figure, but they made no hint that he was. So if he was going to be the Build-A-Figure, I'm sure they would have said so. So I'll be disappointed if he is the Build-A-Figure since they didn't say anything. So fingers crossed he'll just be a standard figure. But he looks really nice, and character-wise, again, I think that he is pretty interesting. So I'm excited for this one. They also revealed not who it is, but that they are going to do another character that creator created. So don't know who it's going to be, but here's the creator, that they are going to do one of his other characters as well. And here's a closer shot. Overall, I think it looks very cool. As you can see, there's some good texture in the arms there too. Looks like a lot of new pieces. Next up, as a Walgreens exclusive, unfortunately, they're doing a Bar and Zemo. They said this year will have a bit of a theme as well as last year did, because last year was all kind of cosmic, and nobody could find any of the figures from last year at retail, and they're all very expensive online, on the secondary market. Walgreens is the worst exclusive place that Marvel Legends uses, and it's unfortunate that they still use it. This Zemo, though, looks nice. I mean, they've released a Zemo previously back in 2014 for the Winter Soldier wave. So to get an updated version is nice because it has been a while. So I would definitely like this one. Again, though, I'm worried about how difficult it will be to track it down. So they didn't say what the theme was this year, but looking at this, I would assume it's supervillains, so we'll see. It's almost disappointing to me because I'm a huge villains fan, so I'm so happy that, there's more supervillains coming, but if they're all Walgreens exclusives, that's gonna suck. So we'll see. Then, as part of their line with like a Tigra and stuff, they're like kind of Avengers classic line with the card back packaging. We have Scarlet Witch. This is a 100% repaint of the one that came in the 3-pack with Magneto and Quicksilver. The repaint itself looks nice. The other one's very dark and it has some metallic looks. This one's a lot more classic. So I like the paint job, but it's just a repaint. I mean, the packaging is what makes it new, and in their minds it's what makes it interesting. I could care less about packaging. I think that the majority of Marvel Legends collectors don't keep figures mint. I'm sure some do, don't get me wrong, but I think the majority of Marvel Legends collectors like to open them up, get the displays, get the poses. They have great articulation for a reason. And then we have a figure that you can't even see. It's a Vision. This is White Vision. Again, this is a repaint. This one came in a 3-pack. I don't remember when it came out or who was in the 3-pack. I think maybe there's a Sentinel, like a Ultron Sentinel in that 3-pack. I got it when it came out. Since then I've sold the White Vision, and it's not one that I particularly care for. He's obviously got the bare feet, of course, but it's a repaint again. They did a little bit of two-toning. No matter these, any of these pictures, though, he's so hard to see, even the ones in person. So, yeah, a boring one. Then they did an interview with a artist who did a drawing to kind of reveal the character, and the character is Vulcan here. The thing that makes this interesting is that this is going to be the new body that will take over the Bucky Cap mold. So that's nice. It's glad to hear that they are retiring it. However, they didn't say that it's over right now. They said that they're going to slowly phase it out. So it sounds like we've got some Bucky Cap figures coming down the pipeline, unfortunately. But eventually it will be phased out, and this will be the replacement, which is nice, and it is pinless. So that's going to be very cool. Figure-wise, though, as basic can be. But, the thing that's interesting is the fact that they've got that new kind of standard body mold. Then moving on to some of the MCU reveals. Again, and I've already said it quite a bit, and I'm going to still say it a lot more during this video. Here's just kind of some repackages with slight paint job differences. This is a Captain America 2-pack, so the idea of this is cool. It's, the new Captain America and the old Captain America. You've got Falcon and Steve Rogers. Both figures have been released previously. Falcon just recently, within the Disney Plus wave. However, Captain America's release, and this is what kind of makes this worth it, is that he was released as a Walmart exclusive. This is the Endgame Captain America, and it was impossible to get. It was extremely difficult. It's, it's going for a lot more on eBay in the secondary market, and it's one that I've always wanted, but it was so impossible to get, I was never able to. So this at least gives you a way to get that now, but it means you have to buy a figure that you just bought like a month ago, so it's very disappointing. The one nice update, though, when it comes to Falcon, or Sam Wilson's Captain America, is that he does have an additional new head sculpt without goggles. So this is the first head sculpt without goggles for Falcon. So that's very cool. All the previous ones have had goggles, and I think it's pretty crazy that it's taken this long to get like a true Anthony Mackie sculpt for that character. Falcon does not come with his wings, so that's disappointing too. But again, like, you kind of just put a lot of effort into building your wings for your new Captain America, so I guess it's good that they didn't just repack them like immediately after. And then they put them kind of in a pose fighting, so I thought that was odd. I would have probably switched the order of these two so that they were like back-to-back fighting together. But what are you going to do? And then we've got another, you guessed it, repack with some new accessories, basically. So we've got the Winter Soldier from... Now, so they're considering this, and they said that, like, this is the flashback from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but this is your Winter Soldier from Captain America Winter Soldier, of course. The figure is exactly the same as the one that came out in 2014, except new accessories and new head sculpts. And I will say that the new head sculpts and new accessories are awesome. The unmasked head sculpt's okay, sculpt-wise, nothing great. The hair looks good. The actual face, though, I don't think is that good. But having the mask one, I think looks quite nice. This is a non-goggled look. The original one that came out had goggles, but it's a really good update. It's something that I think needed to be updated for a while. And in person, even the unmasked head sculpt looks really nice, to be honest. I kind of like this pose, just this like intimidating walk forward, like kind of reaching for the knife on his suit there. That looks pretty neat. And you can see the unmasked one here. And the weapons he comes with are really nice, too. They're not goofy or anything like that. The original one, I don't even think it came with the weapon, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong on that, but just thinking it over, I don't think it actually had a weapon. So this is a nice figure, though. If you didn't get the Winter Soldier back in 2014, that's basically the only Winter Soldier Bucky. Like the ones that have come out since then are more just Buckies. So this is definitely one for you. If you do have that one, like myself, I still plan to get this because I think that the update is quite good. Also, the original one had some weird kind of brown colors, so the colors weren't great. So getting an update on the colors of the costume is nice. The new accessories are awesome, and the head sculpts are really good. So it makes it worth it. And then they did an interview here at length. Don't get me wrong, awesome people, but just a very lengthy interview. I think we'll get some like actual photos of these things. Okay, so we've basically got a new series that's coming out based on, or at least inspired by the animated X-Men show, and they'll be released in packages. Again, the packaging was the main focus of these things, in VHS style packaging. So if you like to take your boxes and like line them up on a shelf because you're a wacko, like, you can do that. No offense if you plan on doing that. But it just boggles me that they were like so focused on packaging and like the toys didn't even matter. It's just a repaint. Again, we should like do a counter of how many times I'm going to say that in this video. But it's just repainted, and it's not even that unique of a repaint. They did a 3-pack just recently that had this color scheme, and it's a nice figure, but it's nothing too special. They've got some like shading on it to give it more of a cartoony look, but they didn't do it like to that big of extent. So you can see it in like some places. You got like a little bit at the shoulders there, a little bit here, but like they didn't go full out to like really make it look like it's part of a cartoon. So it's an odd combination. The big accessory that I think is a neat idea is this frame here with Scott and Jean, and so that you can do that kind of famous meme photo. You can recreate that with your figure, and just a nice touch is that it is like a workable frame where you can open up the frame and take out that piece of paper, and so you can replace it with stuff. You can kind of get creative and do some funny photos. So I like that concept, but not too interested in the fact that it's just a repaint and like this is the cell for it. I think that's just crazy. And then Jubilee, they didn't actually have an actual figure for, but they have a render, and here's the render. And guess what, guys? It's a repaint. So yeah, repaint with some new accessories. I think that the head sculpt that's on the body is definitely new. That other head sculpt I think is new too. Not 100% sure. The last one that they did had like her blowing a bubble gum. I thought that was a neat concept, and then like a regular one too. And then she also has sunglasses, so different kind of tinted sunglasses depending on what you want. Again, though, this is the cell. And if you're curious, here's an actual VHS tape, so they are larger than VHS, but they're proportioned the same way. So yeah, moving on to the thing that was already shown, but it's Captain America in their new kind of like Toy Biz inspired line. So this line, the concept of it's neat. I do like the concept, don't get me wrong, but it's a gimmick, it's a gimmick that is mainly focused on the thing around the figure and not the figure itself. Don't get me wrong though, I think that this looks like a nice figure. I definitely do. It comes with a slew of accessories, which is great. You have a base with the classic style Marvel Legends writing, and then a backdrop that on one side has a diorama, on the other side has a comic book cover. And I believe that the original Toy Biz figures, they came with comics, so that's kind of your comp for that. It doesn't actually come with a comic, but you have a comic cover photo. The figure himself, he looks nice. I'm not sure if this is a new figure. From the torso up, I think it is. Like, that chainmail looks like it's all sculpted, and I can't, at least right now, determine or remember if if there's been one previously with that that had that. Obviously, the legs are your standard kind of Bucky cap. But overall, I think that the figure looks nice. I like the bright colors, very classic. You've got Steve Rogers head sculpt with the kind of hood piece put down. You have hands of pair of fists, pair of open hands, a pointing and a saluting. And then the real interesting thing about this, which I've heard some people complain about, but I love it, is the shield. So, we have 16 million shields in our collection, so finally we got something that's a little unique. And people are complaining about that, it's just crazy. But essentially it has 3 holes in it, so here, here, and here are 3 holes, and you can put things in it. So as you can see here, you have some electricity on it, maybe, in a pose fighting Thor, something of that nature. There's also a slash, so you can put the slash in here, so it looks like he's just smacking somebody, or maybe Wolverine's claws, or Black Panther's claws, or, scraping down on it, something like that. And then lastly, you have individual bullet blasts, so it can be that he's deflecting bullets. Awesome idea. I think it's great. That's the big sell for me personally. I think that that's awesome. Slew of accessories, and yeah, here's those blasts. The disappointing thing about this is it's not even like, well, there's a lot of accessories, so it's a good value, because it's not, because it's priced to match that. So instead of the new Marvel Legends price of $23, which was just raised a couple of months ago, so instead of that, this is one's $32 or $33. So you're paying for those extra accessories and probably the damn packaging. So it's just very disappointing. This isn't the exact same. It's the same style of packaging, but it's not the exact same packaging. It is on a blister card, so it's much easier to open. So that's nice. Then the second one is Iron Man. The Captain America was shown like a week ago, so this is actually a new reveal. This is an Iron Man figure that it's your standard kind of Iron Man figure. I think that I wish that they took this photo at an angle, because it's just weird that you can see right through them. I don't like that one bit. They went with a design. They said that it's not your classic Iron Man like the one that originally came out in this Toy Biz line that had the pointy shoulders and the rounded out helmet, things like that nature. But as they kind of said, that they just did something like that. They just did a figure like that. I believe it was for the Shang-Chi wave, if I'm not mistaken, and that's a good figure, but that's mainly what this figure is. It's that figure, but with a bit of an update. So they went with those different kind of stylings on the armor, so that it was different than the figure that they just made. You have a Tony Stark head sculpt. That is a cool Tony Stark head sculpt, and I like that one quite a bit. It's very classic. You have repulsor hands, you have fists, you have repulsor blasts, and then smoke effects. All of the accessories we've seen previously. So this figure, it does not have much new at all. It does come with that base and cardboard back, though, as previously stated. So the head sculpt's new, but I'm not 100% sure if there's anything new else on this. I mean, maybe the helmet is new as well, but the base body is reused, and then the accessories are all reused. So, just comparing Captain America or Iron Man, Captain America is a much stronger figure out of these two. But here's the packaging. I guess if you wanted to keep it in package, that this would be a good one. Now, they didn't show any other figures from this assortment, unfortunately, but they did state that, and they didn't flat out state this, but they hinted at it to a degree where it's a certainty, that the other figures that were originally released in this first wave from Toy Biz back when, that they will be releasing those as well. So I can't remember who all, but the big one, and the one that is a rare figure, and it's also a figure that I have been dying for Marvel Legends to make for a long time, is Toad. So we're finally going to get a Marvel Legends Toad. Unfortunately, it'll be at this, price and a half price point of like $32, and we'll have to just, especially since with Toad, I guess they could do a lot of different ton accessories. So I hope they do that. There's certainly going to be a head sculpt that doesn't have the ton out, and there's going to be a head sculpt with the ton out, but I hope that there's multiple interchangeable tons so you can do different lengths or different positions, because, these figures should be kind of stacked accessory-wise because they're at a higher price point. But with Toad, the only kind of accessories you can do are tons. And then the final thing that they showed, this was a cool idea. I like what they did with this. They they said there's like 3 different options for what they could show as the last thing, and one was like a figure that hasn't been updated, for a long time, or has never had an update, something like that. A villain that has never been made into an action figure before, and a hero that's never been made into an action figure before. And so during the whole 2 hours, you could do kind of hashtag update, hashtag villain, or hashtag hero, depending on what you voted for. And then the one that got the most votes, they would show that figure. So the one that won is the one that I voted for, villain. I'm a big villain fan, and it's Despair. Who? Like, that's what everyone was commenting when it was shown. I'm not really familiar with Despair myself, but figure-wise, I think he looks really cool. He's on, your standard body sculpt. Even the hands, I think, are just reused for Morbius or something like that. But totally new and unique and cool head sculpt, and a killer cape. That cape looks really nice. I love how tattered it is, and as you can see, it's got some really nice texture, at least on the inside. The outside seems to be clean, but the inside has a great texture to it. So overall, this looks like a really cool figure. They didn't mention at all, what this would be like exclusive to, sorry, not exclusive to, but they didn't mention like how it would be released in a wave or as an exclusive or something like that. The last thing that they showed was a teaser. They just showed an image of a little thing, and they didn't say anything about it, not one thing. So who knows what that is? I'm not sure myself, to be honest. It has like a Spider-Man look to me. Like, it looks like a mechanical like worm, but it maybe a Dr. Octopus sort of henchman thing that he created. I don't know. Like, I'm not 100% sure, but just looking at it, that kind of gives me that vibe. But there you are. So there's what was shown at this year's Hasbro Con for Marvel Legends. Again, I'm very disappointed. I mean, the thing that I think is my favorite that was shown is Knull. And it's a character that I don't even know. So it's kind of disappointing that that's my favorite thing that was shown, because it's the only thing that's like 100% new. Everything else is just a complete repaint. And it's not even like they've used the body, on a different figure, but they made it into a new character. Nothing like that. It's just all updates of figures that we've already had. Some of them just plain old repaints, and then some of them, the best ones, are mainly repaints, but with a new accessory, a new head, something like that. So stupid. I am incredibly disappointed at what was shown here, and I don't think I'm alone either. I think that the stuff is absolutely ridiculous. When they talked so much more about the packaging of these figures, especially those X-Men ones, compared to the actual figures, that it's like disgusting. Like, this is not what this is about. So I'm disappointed. And Marvel Legends, they do live streams every now and then, and they're usually quite good. I usually enjoy them quite a bit. So I think that they were given a 2-hour time slot. They didn't know how to fill it, so they added a ton of filler, and they just made it really disappointing. And very, very little actually shown here. So there you go. That's my thoughts on these Marvel Legends figures, on everything that was shown at the convention. Let me know what you guys think about what was shown in the figures, and thanks so much for watching.